the time when the print run numbers had came out, I had already cracked 1%. I think it's undervalued. Boom!
Hello, all, and welcome to another episode of the WINANDIN EP podcast, episode 43. We are going to have Chris Siders of Fab Unsealed, the guy who goes boom, boom. We're going to have him on here a little later. We're going to talk about some Worlds action as that just happened, as well as heavy hitters coming out. And then we even got skirmish season underway. So, ton to talk about. Let's get right to it because we got a shit ton to talk about. What's up, Gabe? Glad you're here.
What's up? We made it. Don't worry, guys.
All right, let's talk about Worlds. All right, so the World event, Barcelona. Super late in the night. If you're trying to watch it, your sleep schedule is messed up right now, but that's okay. Yuki Lee Bender went ham on that. Right out the gate was just far and beyond the rest of her competition. Second day did really good. Our U.S. representation, Easton Douglas, he was able to kind of close the gap between him and Yuki, but Yuki came out in first place going into top 8. So just a huge shout out to Yuki. Great job running the hero that I would have chose and that I like, and I think it was the best choice, Icelander. So good job, Yuki. Awesome to see you do so well.
That was a crazy run because she only dropped one game. Is that what it ended up being? 13-1 or something?
I think she dropped 2.
Okay, either 2 or 1. Either way, pull it up while I talk. Yeah, either way, like running that well and consistently at a major tournament like that, like Worlds, where you have the best players around, is definitely an accomplishment. It's a feat that not many people say they can have done. So that is really exciting. So definitely huge congratulations. Canada.
She only did drop one game. You were right about that.
Only one game. That's mental.
She and it was a CC, so she went undefeated in draft. She dropped one game in day 2. So Icelander is super strong. Icelander was the pick, but Icelander did not win. All right, there was 2 Icelanders in the top 8. There was 2 dashes in the top 8, and there was a Dromai, a singular Dromai, Aaron Shantz, representing Canada along with Yuki Lee, but there were 3 ninjas in top 8, and truly, as I thought, Dromai, was big, right? She was like part of the top 3 in the Lexi meta, Lexi, Dromai, Icelander. But with Lexi leaving, that allowed the ninjas to come back. And this is what I thought would happen. The format would get more aggressive and more defensive, and it would kick mid-range decks out. And I think that's why we see only one Dromai. Congratulations to Aaron Shantz making it all the way there, because it is going to be harder, I think, for Dromai, especially after the results of this top 8 with 3 ninjas making top 8. That is not a great matchup for her. Kodachis are a dragon killer. And so I think the time of the dragon is, time to go to sleep. Time to take a little nap and wait
slumber, man.
Yeah, a little slumbering dragon. All right, but out of those 2, or out of the 3 ninjas, 2 were 5. 1 was Katsu. We get some Hong Kong representation. That was the other Icelander and Katsu from Hong Kong. So very cool on them. Came out strong. Seemed like you had some days.
Yeah, so out of the Hong Kong stuff, I think it was Fab or LSS or James White. Someone on the Twitter space posted that I think out of the top 16, Hong Kong had the most representative as a team. So
they all made money.
Yeah, they all really played well, and they're probably one of the most feared competitive teams out there right now. So I thought that was really sweet.
Yeah. Hong Kong putting Asia on the map. We finally it was fun because when Briar was around, that was kind of like any Asian meta was going to be Briar, basically. And that was kind of all I was really seeing. Like, Europeans do things weird, and tend to like Bolton and Dory more. Australians just feel like they're either ahead of the meta or behind the meta. And of course, Americans are net decking. We're always D-meta. But now you can't say that really anymore. I mean, you couldn't say that really before because that kind of dropped off a while back anyways. But now Hong Kong is on the map. I mean, that is not a place to go take lightly. There's going to be a calling or battle hardened Bangkok.
So Bangkok is Thailand, and that's going to be a battle hardened.
I know that's Thailand, but that's still in Asia, and Thailand is a lot easier to get to than Barcelona for our Hong Kong boys. And so fair. You got to imagine if they're all making money here, what's to say that they're not going to do well?
That's terrifying to be at that battle hardened. You don't.
Yeah. So I'm just saying there's no gimmies anymore.
You know. Now, one thing I want to say, yes, no gimmies anymore. I agree. Hong Kong is killer, ferocious. But talking about, as Eric kind of said, like, you know, Europeans play some decks. Dory was something he mentioned. I could be wrong, but I think Adori got 9th place.
Adori did get 9th place. We will get into all that. I do want to get into that. I just want to finish this top 8 first, though.
Sure.
But yes,
I'll allow
we will definitely talk for Dory, and we got some Reinhardt talk too. All right, that was Hong Kong. We have 2 FIs. One, they're both from Europe. One being from Greece, the other one being from Italy. So the old Greco-Roman duo there. And then we got 2 Americans, both representing OG Dash, Inventor Extraordinaire. Easton Douglas doing a more Tree Frog style, just being very defensive. Where Matthew W, the anonymous W, the W we don't know. He is a more of like a little bit of a hybrid, but definitely more of a boost version of Dash, representing America there.
Did you see the list? Like, he was running some of the Evos.
Yeah. No, both Dash players were running Evos. That seemed to be a tech for the longer games. So yeah, a lot of cool things to take away from these top 8 lists. Going into the quarterfinals, you know, we have Yuki versus her Icelander versus Alexandros and his Fi, and Alexandros takes it out after squeaking into top 8, being 8th place, took out 1st place in the first round, and then went on to face Aaron Shantz, which, as we talked about, Aaron Shantz playing Dromai. Alexandros was able to, you know, mop that up, felt good about that. Moving on, we're following Alexandros for a reason, because at the end he faces Shingsu. I don't know. I heard like the announcers calling him one thing and his name, but the fellow Hong Kong player that's playing Icelander, and Fi, this Alexandros with Fi. Now Fi is typically not good into Icelander. After Fi lost by little, you lost a way to like consistently get blues to counteract Icelanders like blizzards, channeling frigids, frostbites, whatever. So typically not a great matchup. Now, these Icelanders, because Ninja wasn't around for so long, took out Brain Freeze, which is a great card to use against Fi. So these Icelanders didn't have Brain Freeze. But still, that doesn't make it like 50-50. I would say I still think it's Icelander favored. So this guy had to take on 2 Icelanders to win the whole thing, and he did it, representing Greece. I always thought it was going to be Yorgos Samaras or whatnot. I thought he was going to get it from Greece. But now Greece got a new good player,
Yeah, talk about the new good player. The caster said it, so I'm assuming it's true. His only other major event that he's done well in was a Pro Quest. Like, this was his first like actual like big tournament, and he just shows up and wins it.
Yeah. So what's really cool about him is, in each of these worlds, we've seen a people's champion, and what I mean by a people's champion is that this is a person that could be me or you, right? This isn't a person that is on Team Wolfpack or Team, Min-Max or whatever. This isn't like a big name that people know. This isn't a previous nationals winner or calling winner or whatever. This is an average Joe that made it all the way out here. So he is the people's champ. And last time, I believe it was Wesley Dong, which did not, get past the first round. But Alexandros, the man, the myth, the legend, did it. And he did it in the most hardest way possible, going against 2 bad matchups. Gets a little break in between going against Aaron Shantz and Dromai, but that's still not a gimme. That's still no match is a gimme out here in top 8. So he definitely earned it. Congratulations to him. The age of the ninja is here. It is going to be raining down Kadachis.
Another thought I had with him winning, because he was 8th seed, you said, correct?
Yes.
So I think that's just how World Championships work, because Michael Hamilton was 8th seed going into San Jose.
Interesting.
So
cool.
If you're going into Worlds, you're going to want to be 8th seed. That's all I got to say for the future reference.
Yeah, that might be the case. Yeah, so we had that as the Worlds event. We had the calling. The calling was a sealed into draft. That was won by Christian Logan. I was actually able to face this guy twice at Calling Dallas. Faced him once in the Swiss rounds, and then I lost to him at Battle Harn Dallas. Faced him once in the Swiss rounds, lost to him in the top 8 draft. So a very good player. Cool to see that he got it. Very excited for him. He well deserves it, and he won with Max Nitro. So for all those Teklo forcers out there, by now we should know that's gone. Throw that away. We've seen the results of these drafts because Worlds was half CC, half draft. We've seen the results. I'm done hearing Force Teklo. There's no way LSS would print a set to have only one hero be the answer. So we're done talking about that. And Florin helps me out with this argument as well, because not only was he playing Max, but in the finals he was playing against a Dash, not a Tekla Boston. So there you go.
Perfect. I agree.
Yeah.
That mindset's gone.
Now let's talk about a little. Well, actually, let's talk about a little controversy here. Okay. So we're gonna go back to. I know what you were talking about. We're talking about the Battle Harn, but we're gonna come back to that because there's some controversy here.
Oh.
And then I'm gonna bring on some new controversy.
Are you stirring the pot, Eric?
I'm gonna stir the pot a little bit here. Okay. So first things first. Congratulations to Dory getting 9th place. You made all Dory mains proud. Awesome. Glad you did it. That was really cool. That would have been so cool to see Dory in. And I actually think if Phi is coming back, Dory can come back too. I think Dory into Phi can be 50-50 if you are a good enough Dory player. So congrats to you guys. So there's the Dory talk. Okay. But there was someone else that had a chance to get top 8. Have you heard about this game?
No, the only other one I wanted to bring up, so I'll say my little piece first, because I don't think it's the same thing. Because I know Christopher Ali was on Max Nitro, and he was doing good.
Yep. He placed top 32. I think he got 16th or something.
Yeah, he was in the top 20 or something. So I was like, all right, well, Max almost had a chance to top 8, so I wanted to bring that up. But the one you're talking about, well, and that he got 2nd place at Worlds last year, so I also thought that was a great showing.
He's a solid player. He's from LA, or in the LA area, I should say. Yeah, I don't know exactly where he's from, to be honest, but so he will be there at Pro Tour. So it's going to be a tough one.
But no, Eric, I don't know what we're talking about, and I'm actually excited and enlightened.
Okay, all right. So here's some controversy. So, in the final round of Swiss, there was a Reinar player. Okay. And he has his tweets out there. You can go read them. This confirms it all. This isn't like a conspiracy, but this is controversy. He's in the final round facing a Phi. Now, this is according to his perspective, according to his views, this is how it goes. The Phi player knows that even if the Phi player wins, he is not in. He's not making top 8. But if the Reinar player wins, Reinar's in top 8. Which might be in that.
But aren't they playing for money at this point? So the Phi player can still make more money if he beats the Reinar, correct?
Not if you strike a deal.
Okay.
So that's where this is the controversy. So according to the Reinar player, and if you want to look this up, you can just look it up. I won't give out names, but if you want to look it up, it's not hard to find the names. His opponent talked to the judge before the match even begun. And then came back, talked to the Reinhardt player, and said, hey, the judge says, like, okayed on this. I can't make it to top 8, but if you win, you can. Let's split some pricing, and I will just call it your game. And if you're the Reinhardt player, even though we did see a Reinhardt beat a Phi, it's not a good matchup. It's not. You need good things to happen for the Reinhardt and bad things to happen. Like, you need low rolling for the Phi and high rolling for the Reinhardt, basically. So, if you're a Reinhardt player, you might be enticed for that deal because it's not a guarantee that you'll win. And especially if you can get to top 8, I mean, you know, that
your name's cemented in history. Even the clout from that is worth it.
Right. Top 8 as a Reinhardt at Worlds is huge, right?
Brutes are going to go crazy.
Yes, exactly. Chess will be like beaten throughout the world, right? And especially if you could take the whole thing, right? Because you got, you know, there's ninjas in there. So that would be hard, but Icelander matchup, that's a good one. Dromai, that's a good one. So anyways. So he goes to do this, or he agrees to do this, and then a judge comes over and says, hey guys, we're actually thinking about putting you on stream, which of course, a Reinhardt, you know, that could make top 8 on the last stream, that would make total sense. That'd be great entertainment value. But they said, hey, don't even worry about it. We actually just made a deal. We're not going to play. I'm getting the win. And so then the judge's like, what deal? You know, and he's like, oh, well, you know, he already talked to a judge, so he already said this is okay. Well, turns out it's not. You know, I don't want to say anyone would know, but it is pretty well known that that's just has never been the case, or it's never been okay to like say, hey, if you give me, you know, half your winnings, I'll give you the win. That's never flown like in just about any card game.
I think you have to use the word like prize redistribution, and then it's like in some.
Even then, it's you're really, you know, toting the line there, right? Like it's not. Yeah. It's definitely frowned upon, and if you're just telling a judge openly that it's happening, it's probably not going to go well. Like 99 times out of 100. So the Reinhardt player was DQ'd as well as the other player, I believe. And we did not see a Reinhardt in top 8, where we might have. So that's a little controversy that deals with the World's top 8. I think it was handled well.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that happened. I remember seeing it as I was like seeing the when it came out, like, hey, here's who's in top 8. And a lot of people were commenting like, what happened to the Reinhardt? What happened to the Reinhardt? Now we know.
I mean, so if he was DQ'd, is he out for the whole tournament? Like, he doesn't get any prizing? Like, he's no placement?
Yeah. So that's just a lesson to learn. You know, he's learned from it. But yeah, just never just openly make a deal like that. Honestly, I would just say try to stay away from deals like that. I think oftentimes, you know, especially in the Worlds event, I know everyone in top 8 at the last year's World, and I think everyone here as well. I'm not 100% sure on this knowledge, but a lot of people from top 8 like to like just share the prize, so split it all around, but you still play. And for the win, I think that's on a different level. That's more okay than just saying, okay, I'm going to give you the win so that
I see what you mean. Yeah.
So that's where you got to be careful. And yeah, it just didn't go well. But lesson learned. And for anyone out there listening, there's a bit of advice. Now let's get into some other controversy. This was a little bit more fun now. This one is at no one's expense. Let's talk about the Battle Harden.
Controversy? What do you mean? That was glorious.
Yeah. So, the Battle Harden, this Battle Harden was the first high-level competitive event that featured the Living Legends format, or as you might want to call it, the Starvo format. As everyone in top 8 was Bravo, star of the show.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Yeah, not a single Prism, Viscerai, Chain, Briar, Phi, whatever else. Everyone's Starvo. So, Is it Living Legend format or is it just Starvo? That's the big thing right now.
It could be Living Legend if they let Briar have her errata back. That's all I'm gonna say.
It could, yeah. I mean, that might help, right? I don't know if that's good for the game though. Just because now you're like, okay, well, Briar says this in this format, but Briar says this in this format. So I don't think that could go that way. I think the controversy is Living Legend format okay? And I think a lot of people are asking this question. A lot of people are responding. And some of the responses I've seen is that it's okay if it's not in a high competitive way, right? If it's like at an armory or something that's not going to affect elo, or actually, I don't even know if this affects elo, but something that's just not going to like have like major pricing involved. And that might be fair because of how this top 8 looked. I mean, it's Bravo, like Starvo, when he came out, he made such a, like, he's the fastest hero to LL by far. And he warped the meta of CC immediatly and like just held on until he finally LL. You know, if he can't LL in this format, because there's nothing like that here, then what is going to fix this format? Because I would say it's broken. I love it. I love playing Starvo, and I love playing the mirrors, and I think it's fun. But like, it's like having a format where it's like a calling event or a battle hardened event where it's like, okay, everyone play Ira decks against each other. It's like, at what point is it like worth to be in a format?
I can't even imagine calling 2 days of that. That might get a little repetitive.
You're just playing the mirror, right? Like maybe every now and then you'll play like a Prism or something, but like it's. Yeah,
I saw there was a Bravo that did well. I don't know if it was Kale McCreath or who it was, but there's a Bravo that was doing a nice showing throughout the tournament.
Okay,
didn't make it, but they did good.
You know, yeah. If you made it, right?
I wish I could see what the like the top 16 was. And we might be able
we only know top 8. We know that Arcane Games an event. They always host these tournaments, and they did a Living Legend tournament, and we saw Charles Dunn on Starvo take it on that one. I think it was a Starvo. No, I don't think it was a mirror in the end, actually. But yeah, Charles Dunn took it there. He was in top 8 as well, so congrats to Charles Dunn making, you know, just.
So Lucas Oswald got it again.
Yeah, Lucas got it. Yeah,
and he got that Prism statue.
Honestly,
yeah,
he did get a Prism statue. So
it's really cool.
I'm not into it. I'd rather have the little glass thing. That'd be cooler for me. But I know people love that statue. So, okay, that is the Worlds in its entirety.
Yep.
But that
other things happened at World, Eric, didn't there?
Yeah, definitely. Like that's not even like half of like the excitement.
That's not
it is about half.
Well, it is.
But like,
I mean, it's like
it's
not sending the biggest ripples.
Let's get into heavy hitters. All right, we already knew the set was coming out, but did anyone see spoilers coming out this soon? I didn't. I guess maybe I should have, but I didn't. Yeah, we are getting Kasai. That's the biggest one. We are getting Kasai. She is going to be a new Kasai, so not her Centauri Cell Sword self. And she was going to be an adult version. She's going to have adult and young version. So that is news number 1. That is huge.
Huge.
Yeah. We also now we know what Wager is. We know what Clash is. We got a few cards that showed what those are. Those are fun. We're going to have an ultimate pit fight draft.
Yeah.
It's going to be an ultimate pit fight draft. And this is interesting. I'm very curious how this will go. Ultimate pit fight is just like a pot of, or like 4 players, it's a PvE, but there's like a little bit of special rules but it's basically, chaotic. And it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be political, it's supposed to be fun, it's supposed to be casual. Well, now we're getting Ultimate Pit Fight Draft, which should still be that fun, casual stuff, but there is still pricing now. Now it's an armory-based event because you'll draft as normal in a pot of 8, and then you'll be split up into 2 pods of 4 to like play, and then the winners of each of those pods will face each other. So it's very interesting, very, very interesting.
Now, is that in heavy hitters? that this is going to happen?
Heavy hitters. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know it was heavy hitters. I thought it was just going to be an upcoming thing they were doing that for. So
No, it is specifically for heavy hitters, as in because it is the Deathmatch Arena, which is the next big news. Deathmatch Arena is going to be this thing where we are going to have a system to where you can earn points for a Deathmatch Arena hero. And that is going to be one of the 6 young heroes that we are going to get in this set. We know one's Kasai. I'm going to say that we know one's Valda. I'm going to say that right here, right now.
And then KO. Yep.
I'm at 30% on KO. Where are you at?
Oh, I wish I was more than 30. I wish I was.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Yeah, 30 is like the upper limit too for me. We might get a KO as well. I'm at like 95% we're getting a Valda.
Yeah.
I'm on so high on that. And then we're going to get 2 of each, right? We're going to get 2 Guardians, 2 Warriors, 2 Brutes. Out of these 6 young heroes, you will compete in different formats. That is this UPF draft. That is just like Battle Hardened that's limited and sealed or something. Blitz event. I don't know if they'll count. I don't know. Anyways, any event that will add to the points of these 6 heroes will be tallied up at the end of this season that this comes out in. And the hero that has the most points wins. And every person that gave that hero points gets what, Gabe?
Actually, I don't know what the card is. I know it's a specialty card.
Oh.
This is all news to me.
Oh, okay, my bad. All right.
Sorry.
Yeah, you get a specialty card. Yes. I think I heard somewhere that it's Command and Conquer, but in a different art or different form.
Yeah, at the skirmish, some guy was literally telling me all about this. He didn't give me like the full rundown, but he said it sounded something like that. I knew it was either that or like Art of War or like E-Striker. I knew it was one of those Chase Majestic.
It's something that you'd want. But it's going to be an alternate art of that, and that is the thing. You have to get points for his hero in order to gain that card. So you could win your skirmish, you could win this UPF draft thing, but if you didn't get points for that hero, if it was a different hero that won the entire season, well, you just did it for yourself. So you kind of got to place your bets, which is awesome because this game. Yeah, for sure. Like this game is all about having hero loyalty, and this just like solidifies that and strengthens that. So
most definitely.
Very cool there. And then we're getting the 6 new heroes. I think that was the other big thing.
So are some of them gonna have adults in too? Like, do we know how many heroes are in this new set?
Well, we just know that there's gonna be 6. So is some like we know Kasaya has an adult. I'd imagine we're probably at least getting 3 adults.
This is a dumb question. So let's say,
okay.
Do they have different names, both Kasai's? So does that count as 2 heroes or 1?
That would count as 1 hero. So think of it like Outsiders. Outsiders had 6 different heroes.
Yeah.
So that's probably how it's going to follow. It's probably going to be 6 Blitz heroes, 3 CT heroes. Yeah.
Cool. Appreciate that.
That is probably what to expect. Now, is there anything else on that? Because there's one more bit of news that I got.
Does it say they have to be Warriors or Brutes or Guardians?
Here it is.
Does it specifically say that?
For the heroes?
Mm-hmm.
We just know from the dual cards that there's going to be those 3 classes.
So there could be some kind of rogue thing coming in there.
Yeah, but you got to think about it like this, that it is an even number 6. If it was like 5 or like if it was 9 a multiple of 3, I could see there be like a merchant, right? Because it kind of makes sense to have a merchant class.
Yeah.
But because it's an even number of 6, I think we should expect something very close to Outsiders. We'll see. Nothing's set in stone.
Okay.
All right. The last piece of news we have, and then we are going to go right to Chris Sires and talk about some Fab Unsealed, is we have the 2024 roadmap. So we finally, players that want to just go to these events have been asked forever. We finally get a roadmap a year in advance. So now we can plan. And what this entails is that we are going to have 2 Pro Tours next year. We know Pro Tour LA. That's going to happen in March. But we also going to get Pro Tour 5 in June. Now, we don't know where that one's at. Actually, I think I heard something.
I think it's Amsterdam, right?
Amsterdam. I think you said that.
I feel like I heard someone say that. Well, hold on.
Yeah, I don't know if that's 100% confirmed, but I think that might be something. And then we are going to get Worlds next year as well. We get that every year, and that will also be in November, just as it is every year. So we get 3 of the major marquee events as they marked it down. We are going to have 2 Pro Quest seasons, since we are having 2 Pro Tours. We're going to have 2 skirmish seasons. And then, as I mentioned, we're going to have this Deathmatch Arena season. Those are going to be the big events. And then we are going to have 3 sets next year. 3 sets. So we know Heavy Hitters is coming out in February. We expect another set to come out in June, which means in July, I think I said the Pro Tour 5 is in June. It's in July. The July Pro Tour will be from this new set. So it's going to be very exciting. And then we have our last set of the year come out in September. So 3 sets. I think that's what we should start expecting from here on, because LSS is doing away with supplemental sets, and they are using the expansion slot. That is confirmed on this Heavy Hitters, that just like in Bright Lights, they will use the expansion slot to fill some class cards. The expansion slot will help the regular classes, but all these sets are to be draftable sets. So no more supplementary sets. All these sets will be draftable sets. And I think that's why we're doing 3 instead of 4. I think we traditionally did 4 in the past. Now we'll just do 3. I think this is good. I like this. It kind of allows enough room between each set to really get familiarized with each one.
I think it's perfect. Like, I remember, I love sets when they come out to, build us some time, build us some anticipation, but also to be able to debrief and play with the cards that you just got, because it does take a financial burden to buy cards. And, if you want to build every deck that comes out, it costs a lot. But then I think the other great part about this is when a new set is released, you're seeing the cards, you're getting hyped, you're excited, you want to play with those cards. If it's in a expansion set or whatever you want to call it, supplementary, you can't draft that necessarily. So it's kind of, it's cool, but you don't get to actually fully feel and play all the cards unless you buy all the cards you want to play the set. Where when you just get a draft set, you can actually just enjoy it right then and there and really get a good, feels like you bit your teeth into it. So I'm really excited for that.
No, absolutely. I totally agree. One of the reasons why Michael Hamilton built Bullander is because he played WTR draft and he knew Wounded Bull was a good card, right?
Yeah.
By drafting the cards, you get to see the power of commons. You get to see the power of rares, and that helps with the deck building for the competitive scene just as well. So I think it's great for casuals. I think it's great for competitive. I think supplementary sets are cool. I don't mind them at all, and I think they that's where a lot of the deck building strategies come from and whatnot, and it innovates there. But I think having new sets do that just as well as just add the draft element with it. And I think it's, as a drafter, I love that. So I'm not complaining.
I think it's perfect. They mix both perfectly. So congrats to LSS, congrats to Lushma. They killed it.
You know what? I think I'm done hearing myself. Do you want to take over for this next part?
Oh, man, I would love to. Let's get into the Boomtown Chris Sires. We're here to talk to Chris and just learn all about Fab and Fab Unsealed. So back to you, my friend. Good week so far. Tell us all about it.
It's been good. It's been good. Yeah, I've been working on a new studio project. Right now, I'm sitting in my new old studio. I have been in this space for about a year now.
Okay.
But this is the second space I've used as a studio, and I'm moving back into the first space that I was in. But now I get to kind of rebuild it and make it bespoke for Fab Unsealed. So It's going to be pretty fun. I'm really looking forward to having that space built out. So I had a lot of paint under my fingernails before I came down here for this interview. So
what's your vision for it? What do you plan to do with the new space?
I'm thinking kind of like cigar lounge, kind of like just a kind of chill, kick back space. Good couple of pieces of Fab art on the walls, and at one corner, of course, I'll be dedicated to my break space.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it should be fun.
How many square feet is it? Is it pretty big? What's it looking like for you?
It's like a 10 by 18, something like that.
Nice.
So it's decent. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so for like this,
the way that I had
yeah, sorry, go for it.
I was gonna say the way I had it set up before, I kind of had to build my studio in the middle of 2 or 3 other hobbies that had already been occupying the space, so it was sort of a mess. And my break space, my break camera was in the middle of one wall, one of the long walls, and it just none of it made any sense. So it's been good to kind of have an opportunity to rebuild it. So
that's perfect. And so, like you said, it's gonna be like a cigar lounge, and the Fab Unsealed and openings. So are you gonna have that just open to your friends to hang out, play games, or is there some potential for passerbys to see you?
Yeah, definitely. So we're actually, that's funny you ask. We should be live on Airbnb as of, I think, now.
Let's go.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so there's actually right above my head, there is a 1,200 square foot Airbnb. It's brand new construction. And it's in the middle of the woods on my property. And my house is like 100 yards that way. So anybody that comes out here that does Flesh and Blood stuff obviously gets to come over and check out the studio and hang out and crack Fab with me. And
that is so cool.
It's one of the things we're doing on the Patreon too, actually. Like, so every few months we're going to fly somebody out here from the patron list, and they're going to come crack Fab with us. We're probably going to kind of try to set it up with releases and things. So like heavy hitters will be the first time we get it going.
That's smart. I like that's a sweet idea.
We'll move the studio back into this space that I'm in right now for those events, and then the space above will be the folks that are flying in, and then we'll just have a great time. So party house.
That's like the coolest thing I've heard. Yes, that's like the best thing there could be, especially if you're a patron.
Yeah, super stoked about it. Yeah, there's lots of space to obviously set up tables and play as well. So yeah,
nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
whereabouts is your place?
Oh, we're in Leavenworth, Washington. So right in the middle of Washington State.
All right. So maybe if there's ever like a calling Seattle or Portland or something close by.
Yeah. Somewhere like that. Yeah, it's like a 3-hour drive, but it's a really nice drive.
Yeah,
it's a really nice drive. So
cool.
Washington State's one of the most beautiful states. I've been to a lot of the states in the U.S. and I do feel like we've got one of the more scenic states here. So.
It's it's interesting. I've drove many times like from. Gabe, you definitely have as well, like from Montana to Seattle or Portland, and most of the drive goes through Washington State. And like for it's not the biggest state, but for like the size of it, you go through like so many different like sceneries, basically. Like the west side is like Spokane and wooded, but then it goes into like kind of a deserty flat area, and it's interesting.
Yeah, a lot going on here for sure. And if I go maybe 20 miles east, it's almost desert.
Yeah.
Another 20 after that, it's definitely desert. And then if I go 20 west, I'm going to be in the mountains, essentially. I'm in the foothills here. So, yeah.
That's really cool.
It's awesome.
So it sounds like so it's like you said, not in Portland, not in Seattle. How's the scene out there then for you in Leavenworth?
That's the sad part. I'm still working on the local game store here to try and get them to start carrying Flesh and Blood. It's really tough for them to carry any game really that wants to do weekly play and stuff, because the actual population of the town is only around 2,000 people.
Oh wow. It's like where I live. I feel that.
If they were pushing it hard and trying, I think they could probably pull something off. And I told them, I'm like, hey guys, come on, I would love to help you.
Right.
Like we can figure something out here, right? Like they just haven't taken me up on it. So I think I'll bring them another box. It's been a while. I brought them a box of Monarch a while back. So I think I'll bring them a box of Heavy Hitters when that comes out and be like, come on guys, let's go.
Good.
I'll keep pushing.
The catalyst it needs.
They're there. They got the space. They used to do Magic events back before COVID. I think they might be starting up to, more Magic stuff again, but anyway, they need to get some more Flesh and Blood going, that's for sure. I don't know, maybe I should just drop. I can't see it in this count. No. In the back in the corner, like over there's this pile of USPS priority boxes just packed full of bulk Flesh and Blood cards. And yeah, I just love having opportunities to drop those on people. So, like if I find a new game store that wants to carry the game, I'm like, oh, here, have 5.
Yeah. Best way to
They cost like $20 each to ship, and if you can just like jumpstart a store like that for all the players to be able to just show up and get all the bulk they need, can be helpful.
Yeah.
So
yeah, most definitely,
it's always fun.
Awesome. So I think so Fab Unsealed and yourself, can you tell us just a little bit like kind of your elevator spiel, how you came about to this game, how you started making content, and where it all came from?
Yeah, I was cracking Magic the Gathering cards in a private Facebook group just for fun, and we were doing kind of box war-esque sort of things, and we ended up. I bought some Zendikar Rising collector. No, set boxes. I think it was like the first set box I ever did.
Yeah,
or
I think
something.
it was.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this could be interesting, and well, it wasn't interesting. Nobody wanted to buy into breaking it, and so it just sat there on my shelf, and I was just like, well, this is dumb. And, so I started watching Alpha Investments around that time, and I saw this thing called Flesh and Blood, and Rudy was talking about this, Crucible of War kit, and I'm like, whatever, I'll give that a try, and I picked that up. I've been playing Magic off and on since I was in high school, so definitely long TCG background, but Flesh and Blood, when I started seeing the artwork on the cards and stuff, just really jumped out at me as something a little bit more adult, a little bit more focused on my age group as opposed to just like kids or whatever. Everybody.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It seems like the age group is like 20 to 40 range with Flesh and Blood.
This just like right up the top. I got Dig Up Dinner sitting here. It's like, like there's just stuff in here that's like, oh boy, and definitely not the same like any of the stuff for Shadow Brood, and just very kind of dark art. And it's like, okay, all right, I'm not necessarily like drawn to the dark stuff in particular, but the fact that they had that space to work in really stood out to me as something very different than what Magic was doing. And then when I understood about how the resource system works, where you're not getting mana screwed all the time, I'm like, dude, count me in.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Like that was one of the big things for me. It was like, okay, so yeah, I started playing shortly after Crucible of War came out, and I was doing a lot of the box breaks and stuff on this private Facebook group that was mostly focused on Magic the Gathering. And so there was this one fella in this private group that I was in, and I was talking about, oh yeah, I've been breaking these Crucible of War boxes for the last few nights on this this private, on this other group. Man, maybe I should get my own group or something. Ha ha ha. And this other guy in the chat goes, yeah, you probably should. And he was serious, and so I was like, oh, okay, well, I didn't want to offend you there, Saint. So I ended up going and creating a group for just Fab Unsealed, is what we called it at the time. And it really was Saint actually that gave me the kind of push to go create Fab Unsealed. And he so myself and a couple of other folks over the next like month or so kind of got Saint to change his opinion a little bit on the game, and he dove right in after a while. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
It was fun.
So the group you're talking about, I definitely know what you're talking about. It's the Fab Unsealed on Facebook. I see you post. I mean, there's always stuff going on there. So what does it take to run something like that? Like, do you still run that just all by yourself, or how does that go?
So it's myself and Ian Pribble. He's my business partner in all of this these days. He was he was buying breaks from me back in the Crucible of War days, and just ended up being like a really down to earth guy to work with, and we wanted to be in this thing, and he just really was working hard to be at it. And I mean, he's probably on Whatnot right now. So, he's a hardworking guy, and it's been a blessing to have him around. So he and I are the main two kind of business partners that are working on this thing. And then we got a couple other guys that are working with us on the side, slinging singles. Calvin and Jesse, they're out there. pretty badass. And yeah, that's one of the things I really love about this game is that I've had the opportunity to meet so many just amazing people. You know, it feels like the people that play this game and like are interested in this game they're good people and they're interesting people too.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
It's a great combo. So yeah,
it's awesome. So with the Facebook group, like, does that take much upkeep to keep going? Like, what do y'all do with the group anymore these days? Just for that, just
it's been a little quiet lately because I've been super busy. Typically, when I'm doing my breaks for patrons, I'll be running those on Facebook and YouTube, and just sort of just running live videos constantly.
Nice.
I've never recorded a video before and actually released it later. Well, there's a couple small exceptions, but they're like a minute long or something, right? Yeah, I've always done just live work. So yeah, I think we might change that here in the future. We're going to probably start with that new space that I'm building in there. One of the things I'm building is an interview space that'll be pretty sweet. So
cool.
Might be good to figure out how to edit things so that people can feel free to speak a little bit more openly, and then get edited later just in case.
That's cool.
I'll bleep this out. Yeah, I don't know.
That'd be like
I've never really had. Yeah, I'm excited about it. So maybe you guys could be on sometime.
Yeah, we could rally over. Now that sounds like the perfect Fab house. You know, you got the place to hang out, play games. You got you unbox and stuff. Then you got the little studio to film. I mean, that's just the all-in-one.
I got 26 acres in the woods. It's a nice little
you
spot.
go romp around too, so even better.
Yep.
So then,
yeah.
So like you said, so you started in Crucible of War, but we know you're really into the alpha. Like, how does during crew were you buying alpha back then, or when did the drive for that come about?
Yeah. So alpha, I mean, you know, it's just it's the top thing, right? What other thing is more? Oh man, I keep hearing about these people. One of my patrons actually was at an event recently, and he got a pack off the prize wall of alpha, and he popped a heart.
Yeah, I saw
in
that.
one pack.
Yep.
And I'm sitting here, and I'm just like, I love you, and I hate you at the same time. Like, I'm so happy this happened to you, but man, I wish I could get another heart. It's been so long. That's one of the things that really draws me to alpha is how hard it is to hit stuff. You know, it's really it's not easy. I know that I've had at least 2 other boxes come through my house that got sold to other people at some point that had hearts in them, so I know that they're around. It always kind of hurts a little when you see those, but yeah. My thing with alpha is that I think over time the number of those boxes needs to dwindle. I think that it's important that they are seen to be dwindling. There were only 16,000 some to begin with, and when this game came out, they were being ripped like candy. And I hear stories of James White just leaving everything but the Majestics in the hotel room and just like leaving like just leaving it for the maids. Whatever, right? Just a few, whatever $1,000 just chilling. But yeah, nowadays these boxes are getting really hard to find. Like as of today, it's if you find one for $2,500, you're doing pretty good.
Okay.
And that's back when I started. I think it was more like 500. And that was back then. It felt like I was like, I didn't like the level of hits. It was really, compared to Crucible of War, it wasn't as fun to open. And so I was like, well, I can get these boxes of crew for like $75,
nice.
Or we can do these alpha boxes. And so like back then we were doing more crew. We did a lot more crew at first. There came a point though where the crew boxes got stupid expensive, and then it just started to look more and more interesting to go do more Arcane Rising, and then after that, of course, alpha. And I think overall I've probably ripped almost as much Arcane Rising, just because we went through a lot of it early on in the early days of Fab Unsealed. But alpha's been kind of a steady thing over time, and lately it's been a little bit quieter, but we'll be bringing it back.
Totally.
So I think we did one like 3 weeks ago, and I expect to do one probably next week, hopefully. So
nice. Sweet. And for like I guess I got two questions before I forget. We'll start with the pull rates of certain cards. So minus like the fables and stuff. What are some of like maybe like for like out of the legendaries? Is there one that seems to be harder than the others, or do they all seem to be pretty balanced?
Pretty balanced. If anything, it seems like I get more tunics than
That's a good problem.
Right, yeah, good problem to have as far as I'm concerned. I feel like I pulled a lot of tunics.
And then any other outliers like that for like Majestics or foil Majestics or anything like that that just seem to be like elusive?
Just the Majestic foils in general are, I mean, just super hard to hit. Like you're talking 300 of those or something per. So I mean, like an Alpha E Strike in foil. I think I've probably pulled, I mean, maybe two, maybe, you know, and I mean I've only pulled 2 hearts, right? So they're really hard to get.
That's a good point.
They're not, they're not easy to come by. Anything Majestic in foil is super collectible in my opinion in Alpha.
Totally.
I mean, anything Alpha period is collectible, but Majestic foil, jeez. Yeah. So
is there a awesome. And this can go outside of Alpha, but is there a set that is like your favorite to open, or has been?
Crew.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Crew. The original.
It's just been so much fun opening the set, and when the print run numbers came out, I just started laughing because at the time when the print run numbers had came out, I had already cracked 1%. And so I was just sitting there just like, oh, come on, this is great. Yeah. And of course I haven't stopped, right?
Of course.
So I definitely did a lot more of it before, but I'm still at it. So.
Yeah. Now, forgive me if I'm wrong, but Arcane Rising and Welcome to Wraith, there's about the same print runs, is that correct? For the Alpha edition.
Exact same-ish.
That's what I thought. So, yeah. I mean, WTR has always been more expensive for the Alpha compared to Arc, probably because it's the first set. They have the heart, they got the tunic. But how do you feel about Arcane Rising first edition? Do you think it could be more expensive? Do you think where that lands?
I think it's undervalued. I think it's always been undervalued to Alpha big time, especially because of that print run aspect, right? The same number of I have Ophidias exist as hard to find alls. So the amount of why is Alpha always twice as much as Arc or more?
Yeah,
it's weird to me. And Arc is a really good product.
Oh, unbelievably solid.
So I just don't see it. I do feel like anybody that's looking for an opportunity, that long run, that ought to be it, honestly. Like getting some sealed Arc is probably a better idea than sealed Alpha. You know, there's a premium on that Alpha, like you were saying, right? It's the same print run, but it's almost twice as much.
Yeah. So weird. Yeah, like the Command and Conquers, Art of Wars. I mean, even look at the Unlimited Arc is more expensive than Unlimited WTR, so it's just weird.
Right. There's good stuff in it, right? Yeah, there's lots of, and I've pulled a decent amount of, I mean, just because I've opened so much Arc, I think I probably have opened more Arc overall. So I've pulled like 8. I have Ophidias at this point. I got hot hands for the eye.
That's great.
I can pull eyes all day long.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one to do, right? Yeah. But Command and Conquers in foil are really hard to get.
Yeah,
I've only done like 2 or 3 of those, I think.
Totally. Well, thinking about like fables, this came to mind. I think I already know the answer. Is there a fable you have not opened out of any set, or have you hit every fable?
Fable, I've hit them all.
Okay. Any card you haven't hit?
Yeah, the Emperor.
Yeah.
He's the first card that ever has eluded me, and it's so far. I'm still trying.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't pulled an Emperor yet, and I do feel like I'm due. I shouldn't because it's totally biased. But I really want to get an Artist Proof too.
Great. Like those are still out there.
Till Dawn needs to like hook me up.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not working out in my favor so far. That's what I was cracking right before we hopped on this I did pull a Crown of Providence though.
Okay,
so
score.
All right.
That's going up. That's good.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about Crown of Providence getting reprinted? Was that a good thing from your guys' perspective?
Here, I'll let you go first. You go first as a player. Yeah.
As a player, yes. Especially because I share my collection with my partner since we both play. And so I basically need two of like all the like, big time equipment. So I was stoked for that. But yeah, that's just my opinion as a player. I'm all for it. But yeah, I'm not much of a collector, so I'll let you answer that one now, Gabe.
Well, see, I don't know if I collect them as much. I mean, I sell them every time I get them. That's my issue. No, actually, I saw it yesterday. When I was just doing I make like a weekly market videos going over cards that went up in prices, and Crown of Providence is going up, like the Dust Till Dawn one. There wasn't.
Interesting.
I should pull that up now just so I'm not spitting facts that I'm being dorky about. But on TCG Player, there was not a lot out there. They're almost up above $90 to $100 now.
Oh wow, they're getting back out there.
Paid for the box, that's for sure.
I was very surprised.
As a legendary should when you hit it, I think.
Oh man,
that's kind of how I feel. You get a legendary in your box should be mostly paid for.
Yeah, that has changed. And I actually, that's perfect because I kind of wanted to ask you about that because now that it's like the Fab 2.0, it's definitely more of a player market. It seems with how certain legendaries are like. There's a legendary out there that's $8, like Coronet Peak. It's $8.
How about a $5 one the other day? I was like,
so is it still like, does that take away anything from like opening those boxes? Like, does it less incentivize you, or does it take away the fun, or is it still just like you still get cool cards? It's still something that you enjoy doing with the newer sets.
I will admit to not breaking as much of the newer stuff as the older stuff, for sure. I feel like Uprising was a great example of how to do Fab 2.0. Uprising was really solid. A lot of fun pulls. Dragons, awesome. Dust Till Dawn actually is also a really good example. Like it's got angels, and beautiful cards, right? The marbles are different than everything else. And, like in Bright Lights, it feels like the marbles kind of look exactly the same as the other cards. Like there's not enough differentiation in treatments and stuff. And I don't know. There's definitely some things that I feel are missing from the last couple of sets in terms of just making me want to rip the heck out of them. Dust Till Dawn was pretty good. It's the older stuff is more fun, I'd say.
Gotcha. So then
but even back in like the Tales days, like, or even Monarch, there's plenty of stuff that you can hit. You're just like, ugh, like so.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
there's always something.
With heavy hitters coming out, is there something you want to see LSS do specifically for that set to make it more fun for you to open, or what's that drive?
Oh man, it'd be cool is if they took like a hero from Crucible of War that's a young hero and made her an adult hero.
That would be cool. I mean, like KO, right?
Yeah. Like no. I actually heard about Kasai and I was super stoked about that. I really hope they're hiding Shiana as well.
Oh man, that would be
crazy. I keep begging for an adult Shiana, and they're talking about how they're going to be making all these heroes happen, right? I'm like, come on, let's go, Crucible of War 2.0, heavy hitters. That sounds cool, bring it on. But let's see what happens. I think that was a good move on their part. I'm really excited for it.
That's awesome.
Heavy hitters so far at least sounds good. So
So I got another question that I keep forgetting to ask. It would have been a little bit earlier, but so promos. What are your thoughts on just some of like the rare promos hard to come by? Because I know you have a couple in the Fab Unsealed library. Because I've seen them at events like the IRA and stuff. Like, do you have any opinions?
So I love cold foil heroes. Just generally speaking, right? Any form that I can get a cold foil hero, I want to collect that. That's just what I collect. As a collector, that's like my thing. Promos in general are a good thing, I think, for the game, but we need to be careful about what we're reprinting as a promo that's already been released as a card in a pack. A recent example is the Judge packs have Art of War cold foils in them, and that's upsetting to me. I don't like that. I'm a collector at heart. I don't have as much time to play the game as I do to stare at the art and collect the cards. So it kind of hurts me when I see the value of those rainbow foil Art of Wars, that there's only like 300 in the world or whatever, right? But the value of those have now been eroded by these cold foil versions that exist. Like some people would argue, like, well, there's no really erosion there. Like, okay. I mean, that's you can argue it either way, right? And
did you feel that way with the Command and Conquer when it became a Fable? Yeah.
Oh, when it became a Fable. Yeah, I mean, that wasn't as bad. It was still weird.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Still a little weird. Like I got used to it, and I thought they did a good job. The art was great, and the treatment was really well done. So
it was at least
it was like, oh, okay, we can forgive this. And I'm still chasing my Emperor, and it's hard as hell to get. That's the other thing they did with it. They didn't make it rainbow foil. They made it the cold foil only.
Yeah.
So that made it really hard to get. So the pull rate on it's actually the same as the pull rate on like the Blood of Drakai. Only if you took the Blood of Drakai rainbow foils away, there's only the cold foils in the uprising boxes, right? So it's actually, from a Fable standpoint, it's the hardest Fable to get.
I believe that.
Yeah, you got to open a lot of boxes to pull Command and Conquers, and I like that. I love a good chase. When you hit that card, it's like boom,
yeah.
Like you get excited, like. Oh. Yeah, and that's what I want. I want that rush, So I really do, I appreciate Command and Conquer for what it is in the form they made it there. I think. Yeah.
So questions about so your thoughts on Art of War? I totally agree. What are your thoughts on, was it Sigil of Solace that they printed twice as specialty promos?
That bugs me too, man. I was like, I personally bought a set of the Merlion sigils, right? I'm like, oh, these are so beautiful. And then they do another set for Barcelona. Either one of those sigils in a vacuum is a beautiful, well done piece, but both of them existing does bother me just a little bit. It does a little bit. Just again from a collector standpoint, right? So I wanted to build the max. I keep looking over here because I'm thinking some of the cards are over there. The max. I wanted to build a max rarity Bravo deck.
All right.
So okay.
Every card in the deck has to be the best version of the card. Right?
Yeah.
So cold foil pummels from the Judge packs. Yeah, I love cold foil pummels from Judge packs. That's badass.
Okay.
All day, do that, right? And just trying to get just top max rarity of everything. I even have the German cold foil Marvel Bravo.
Nice.
So, or no, pardon me, it's not the German, it's the Italian, because there's less printed.
Okay.
So yeah, there's like half as many of the Italian.
Oh, you went even more specific there. Even the less printed one is going to be okay. I see you.
Yeah. So I got the max rarity, man. So.
Good man.
Yeah. And so like when I'm trying to build a deck like that, I'm gonna put some sigils in there, right?
Right. Yeah.
which fucking sigils? That's what I want to know. Come on, don't make this hard on me. So there's so many other cards that you could do cool things with, and anyway, yeah. Sigil is a good card, though.
Do you got gold foils in that Bravo deck then?
I am right now in negotiations for an Anothos.
All right.
So yes, looking at it, trying to do it right. And we're looking at just figuring out how to Fab Unsealed be able to spend more time on the event floors as well, like playing too. So
that'd be cool.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll have our own team someday, and we can.
There you go.
Do some kind of like team events or something.
Max rarity, team max rarity.
Yeah, you can only be on the team if you have the max rarity decks.
Oh man, that would be a rough entry.
Yeah, it would be very exclusive.
Yeah.
Pretty showing though.
If you manage to get onto this team, don't worry. The players focused on their deck, like looking good, not actually knowing.
It might not be the tier.
You will make deck. Round 1 on stream for sure. People will want to see that.
Right, and that's the last round. Oh man.
No, that is too good.
Are you? I mean, every new set that comes out, you are like the last spoiler that everyone watches because you're one of the first ones to open up the boxes. I imagine that's coming out for heavy hitters too.
I imagine so. Yeah. I haven't heard one way or the other yet, but typically these things are pretty. LSS plays things pretty close to their chest.
They do. Yeah.
And I appreciate that, like, and that even after I've been doing this for so long, they still don't. They're like, I'm not on some contract or something. They're not like, oh, you're gonna do this for us, and we're gonna, no. It's like they reach out every time and they say, hey, are you willing to? And I say yes, because of course I am. Like it's an honor and a privilege.
Definitely.
And it's been every set since Everfest at this point. So
cool. Hell yeah.
Been doing a box break. It's been good. So
it's awesome.
Yeah, hopefully heavy hitters too.
Get a big boom in for that one. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I'm like, I wish they would send me some like seated boxes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like
they obviously haven't, to their credit. They shouldn't, right? Because that would mean that those boxes exist. But
then they go to patrons, so it's good for the patrons.
But wouldn't it look so cool?
Yeah.
Right?
Like, yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. I think there was one other fella that did a box for Bright Lights, and he had the legendary.
Yeah, he got the legendary on that one.
Oh,
and then
he
the
hit
Fable.
the tunic, right?
Then he hit the Fable at the end, last pack or something, I think, right?
Yeah.
Master Set Madness, was that it?
Yeah, I think that sounds right.
Master Set Madness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he did a box of, I think it was Outsiders as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so he's kind of fun content.
Oh yeah,
cool.
All of it's fun. Eric, was there any questions I asked to get a handful. Was there any that I missed that you had in your brain skis?
I made sure I asked everything I wanted to. I got some information.
Sweet.
Perfect. So, I mean, if people are to find you, where's the best tags to find you ever? I'll have it, of course, linked down below with your Twitter handle, of course, and then a description. But
how can people be Patreons?
Yeah, that too.
Patreon.com/Fab Unsealed. There's multiple tiers there. One of them requires me to break a box for you every month. So if you want to hear me say your name, you just have to pay me. It's easy. But yeah, there's multiple tiers there that you can check out, and patrons are always getting first dibs on all the alpha boxes and everything else that we're doing. So it's a pretty good deal. Everything's a little bit cheaper behind the paywall there. So
nice.
Awesome. And then also, if you don't feel like paying, most of the videos are on YouTube. So youtube.com/@FabUnsealed, I think is the
perfect
URL for that. So
sweet. Yeah. Well, I think we'll probably wrap up here pretty soon. So I just want to say thank you again one more time. This was awesome. It was a pleasure. I mean, just great to hear good stories.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Always
fun hanging out.
Always good to hang out. Well, Eric, any last further thoughts in the world?
We're good. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching and tuning in to this episode. And we just appreciate it, and we love you all, and we'll see you in the next one.